Hello, and thank you so very much for joining me. Today, I would like to talk to you guys about the horrible death of Thomas and Jackie Hawk. Thomas and Jackie Hawk were a couple from Prescott, Arizona. Thomas was a retired probation officer and bodybuilder. Jackie was his second wife. Jackie had been around since Thomas' sons were teenagers, and she helped raise them and watch them grow up. Thomas and his wife bought a beautiful 55-foot yacht and named it the Well Deserved. And in 2001, they called it their permanent home. Thomas and Jackie sailed for 2.5 years around the Pacific and the Gulf of California. In 2004, their younger son Matt told them that he and his wife were expecting their first child. They decided to sell their yacht and buy a home on land to be closer to their first grandchild. Their friend Judy Whitman described the couple as precious people to talk with. Mr. Ford, another yacht owner, said that he moored their boats near the Hawks in the same upscale harbor in ritzy Newport Beach. Mr. Ford said Thomas and Jackie live better than most people can live in a house. November 2004, SKYLAR DELEON responded to the ad and told Thomas that he was interested in his yacht. SKYLAR grew up in Hollywood and had small parts in commercials, and at age 14, he appeared in the series Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. He was an extra in the episode Second Chance. SKYLAR met with Thomas, and right away Thomas started to have second thoughts. SKYLAR was very young, and Thomas didn't know how he would be able to afford the Well Deserved. He was selling it for $435,000. Sensing that Thomas was skeptical, SKYLAR arranged a second meeting with Thomas and Jackie, and this time he brought his pregnant wife Jennifer Henderson and their 2-year-old daughter. This is what melted both Thomas and Jackie. They were delighted with SKYLAR's young daughter and discussed the birth of their first grandchild. By the end of the visit, Thomas and Jackie agreed to sell the yacht to SKYLAR and his wife and schedule a test run for SKYLAR. On November 12, 2004, Thomas and Jackie took their last trip to Santa Catalina Island off the coast of Los Angeles. Soon after, they met with SKYLAR for the test run. Thomas and Jackie were surprised that he was accompanied by 2 other men, Alonzo McCain and John Kennedy. Alonzo McCain was a former Seal Beach correctional officer, and John Kennedy was an insane Crips gang member in Long Beach, and also a former youth pastor and ex-convict for attempted murder. John posed as SKYLAR's accountant. The Hawks took all 3 of the men on what's called a sea trial. That's how the hull and motor are tested. They cautiously navigate their way out of Newport Harbor and into the open waters. Hours later, Jackie calls a friend by the name of Carter. She called him because they had plans to meet that night. Jackie said to Carter, "Hey Carter, we don't know why we're not back on shore yet. We're still out here on the sea trial. They won't tell us anything other than that they're still sea trialing the boat." Carter tells her to let him know when they make it back to the harbor, but they never did. The next morning, the yacht was back in Newport Beach, but Thomas and Jackie were nowhere around. The car belonging to the Hawks was also missing, so friends and family initially thought that maybe they had taken a trip to celebrate their windfall. But after 1 week of no communication from the couple, the family asked Carter to go out to the Well Deserved and kind of dig around a little bit. When Carter stepped inside of the cabin of the yacht, he said his heart sunk. The cabin was in a complete mess, and there was a white towel hanging out of the porthole. The family immediately filed missing persons reports. Detectives went to the yacht searching for clues. They found a receipt for bleach, other cleaning supplies, and heavy-duty trash bags, and also Tums. It didn't take long for the police to find out who the supposed buyer of the yacht was: SKYLAR DELEON. A surveillance team was put in place to track and watch him. SKYLAR and Jennifer were tracked down at a church. They were there cleaning it. SKYLAR was already on probation for burglary, and that the couple was $80,000 in debt, living in Jennifer's parents' garage. Where did they get the money to buy the well-deserved? It certainly wasn't from SKYLAR's acting career. Although he did appear on the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, he only appeared twice, and those were non-speaking roles. SKYLAR was brought in for questioning, and he stuck to the story that he bought the yacht from Thomas and Jackie Hawks. He said he paid them $485,000 in cash. When asked how he got the money, SKYLAR said he made it from drug sales. SKYLAR went on to tell the police that the couple asked him to use his connections in Mexico to open a bank account so they could buy a house. And then he tells the detective that both Thomas and Jackie also gave him power of attorney so that he could move all of their money to Mexico. SKYLAR produced a power of attorney that looked legit. They were signed and everything looked okay. An American was in Mexico watching the news and reported that he knew where the Hawks' car was at. It was parked outside of a house in Mexico. Mexican authorities approached the house, and the person that answered the door told the police that SKYLAR had given him the car. He said after he bought it, SKYLAR was picked up by his wife and they went back to the States. The police knew something wasn't right, so they went back and had a second look at the power attorney. Kathleen Harris was the notary, and she told the police it was real. She said that she personally saw the Hawks sign them, and she was the one who did both Thomas and Jackie's fingerprint on the documents. The detective then asked the woman to describe both Thomas and Jackie. She stumbled. She described Thomas correctly. However, she said that Jackie had brown curly hair. Years earlier, Jackie had cut her long curly hair, dyed it blonde, and spiked it. The power of attorney was shipped off to the FBI for further analysis. Thomas' signature was dead on. However, there was something odd about Jackie's signature. Their last name is Hawks, with an S at the end. Jackie signed the power of attorney as Jackie Hawk, and you can see that someone came in and added the S at the end. She was trying to alert someone that they were in trouble. She sent a signal for someone in the future to catch. A warrant was put out on SKYLAR for money laundering. Remember, he confessed to laundering money from Mexican drug deals. He was arrested wearing an adult diaper. Jennifer had one last request. She asked if SKYLAR could kiss his daughter goodbye. The investigation led back to the converted garage where they were staying, and that's where the Hawks' items were found, including a camera, driver's license, and other personal items. The police noticed that Jackie's license had a picture of her with long brown curly hair. Exactly what the notary described. The detective contacted an old boating buddy and asked him what should he look for on a boat if he were trying to figure out if a murder had been committed. Without hesitation, his friend said, "Look for a missing anchor." Looking at the pictures of the well-deserved, investigators knew the yacht had two anchors. They went and checked the yacht, and one of the anchors were missing. Police didn't know that Jennifer was involved until she was spotted on surveillance entering the bank. And Jennifer was smiling ear to ear as her husband attempted to drain the Hawks' bank account. The manager of the bank knew the Hawks personally and declined the request, even with the power of attorney. He said he needed to verify it. Jennifer was offered immunity to flip on her husband and tell the truth. That was the only way she would be free and able to raise her daughter, and she was also 7 months pregnant. Her answer was no. The person claiming to be the notary declined the offer of immunity also. There was a signature overlooked before, and that name was Alonzo McCain. He was supposed to have witnessed the deal go down. He was 19-year-old who lived with his parents and worked at the city jail. He was a jail guard and had befriended SKYLAR when he was doing time on a burglary charge. Alfonso fled to Mexico. He was offered a deal, and the deal was that if he returned and told his side, they would take the death penalty off the table. He agreed. This is what he had to say.
SKYLAR approaches me with this plan he has. He was going to do something that, was going to make some money, so he offers me to help him.
Once they go out to sea, John Kennedy played like he had become seasick and goes down below into the cabin. Mr. Hawks became concerned because he never came back up. SKYLAR followed behind Mr. Hawks, and that's when Mr. Hawks was ambushed. Jackie is up on deck. She can hear what's going on.
I realized that I had to, hold her. She didn't know what's going on, and that's when they were actually holding him down. Then that's when I realized that I had to, hold her. Mrs. Hawk, at this time, while I walked her down to the bedroom area, I was able to cuff Mrs. Hawk. At this time, while I walked her down to the bedroom area, where SKYLAR told me to go get some tape from the engine room. He got the tape and he told me to tape their eyes, tape their mouth.
At this time, Jackie is crying, screaming through the cloth that had been placed over her mouth. Alonzo said that he saw Mr. Hawks stroking his wife's hand with his finger while they were handcuffed, trying to calm her down.
They had them one by one go up to the kitchen area where she was first. They had her sign that power of attorney.
SKYLAR told the Hawks that if they cooperated, that he would set them free. SKYLAR headed to the deepest part of the water in Catalina Island. This was a place Thomas and Jackie had beautiful times in the past. SKYLAR came back up and Jackie asked him why he was doing what he was doing. After meeting his family, she trusted him. At that time, Jackie and Thomas were blindfolded and handcuffed. They were both led to the deck of the boat.
Got some rope, brought them to the back, tied them together.
The next thing Thomas and Jackie would have heard was SKYLAR dragging the anchor chain inside of the fiberglass boat. Jackie is now begging for her life. She said, "I have to see my grandchild one last time," and that she was too young to die. All the while her husband stroked her hand and told her it would be okay and that they would be together. Thomas and Jackie were still alive as the anchor dropped to the bottom of the sea. They were dragged 3,600 feet straight down. Their bodies have never been recovered. SKYLAR, John, and McCain kicked back and fished as they returned to the harbor. All three men were charged with first-degree murder. Jennifer is still not talking. However, she told a television station that her husband was innocent. Soon after, Jennifer was charged with 2 counts of murder because she was involved with the setup. Separate juries heard separate cases but had the same verdict. Jennifer was sentenced to life behind bars without the possibility of parole. And that's good for her ass. Alonzo was given leniency and sentenced to 20 years. And John F. Kennedy, he was sentenced to death. SKYLAR was also charged with the murder of an American while he was in Mexico. So that was now 3 murders for him. They say he killed John Jarvie because he borrowed $50,000 and didn't want to pay it back. The money was for a sex change. Yes, SKYLAR wanted to be a woman. SKYLAR, too, was sentenced to death. While in jail, SKYLAR attempted to cut his penis off. He had been wanting a sex change but couldn't afford it. He used a razor. California ended up paying for SKYLAR's transition per the law. He is on a psych ward on death row in San Quentin, living as a woman. You know, I really cannot fathom what these people went through. Even to take your mind, your thoughts there, to be chained and to be tossed overboard, to let an anchor go, and to let these people go all, monsters. R.I.P. Thomas and Jackie. God bless your souls. God bless your beautiful grandchild. God bless the family. I'll see you guys next time. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you on my next story.